course, most collegiate World Series titles of all time with 12. First pitch on the way to Jacob Humphreys, fouled off. And, of course, USC has a bunch of legends in their own right. Tom Seaver, Mark McGuire, Mark Pryor, and, of course, Yankees manager Aaron Boone being just some of the USC alumni. 0-1. Nice hammer dropped in there from Aoki, 0-2. And, going back to the history a little bit, there's some, players from both programs making impacts in the big leagues today. For USC, Lars Nootbaar, the Cardinals. And for Vanderbilt, of course, we mentioned Dansby Swanson being one of those impact players. 0-2. Fastball just missing away, 1-2.
And we talked about it in the open. Even though USC really has the history, Vanderbilt has been the premier program. An NCAA leading 152 MLB draft picks since 2003. That's when Tim Corbin, the head coach, took over.
1-2 on the way from Aoki. Humphrey slipped out of the box after he hit one foul down the third base side. And I wonder now, seeing what Humphrey was swinging at there on that foul ball, I wonder if Aoki might go a bit lower, too, with the curveball. I mean, his breaking pitches are his best pitches. His fastball, sits around the high 80s, low 90s. Has a little bit of a funky grip as well, too, some of his off-speed pitches. 1-2. Off-speed this time is away. Not tempting enough for Humphrey to swing at.
And Humphrey's really been seeing the ball well in an 8-game hitting streak.
Transfer from UMass Lowell. 2-2 on the way from Aoki. Fastball high. The letter is called for strike 3.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Caden Aoki going back to the top of the second inning. He's not really a punch-out pitcher, or at least that's not what he's known for. Getting a couple of punch-outs here.
Yeah, when he's on, he definitely can rack up the strikeouts, but he can also be a ground ball pitcher. He's very versatile in what he is able to do on the mound. Now here comes the 9-hole hitter, Jonathan Vastine. Swings and misses that curveball in the dirt.
And we've definitely seen the strikeout numbers improve this season. Again, 7 punch-outs in his last start against Rice in less than 6 innings of work.
Vastine, returning for his senior year, has been with the Commodores program all 4 years. Swing and miss at that fastball. Whoa, 0-2. For Vastine, he's an excellent defensive shortstop, and he's one of the best that Corbin has said has been coming through his program. Says really the field is a playground for him. Looks like there might have been a warning issued. Home plate umpire coming out, taking off his mask. Owen Armandiers writing down a name, it looks like in his book. Same thing with the first base umpire, Joe Maiden. Not sure what was said. Looks like that might have been warning issued. A lot of black in the seats today. A lot of Vanderbilt fans packing Irvine. 0-2. In the dirt, Vastine lays off. Thomas, outside of the UCLA series that's going to be played here in Irvine, I think this is going to be the highest attended game out of the whole year for USC. Of course, on a perfect Saturday, why not come out to the ballpark? And, of course, they're using that outfield berm to their advantage. Of course, Dado Field doesn't have seats in the outfield where you can watch like that, and Irvine does. 1-2. Another curveball in the dirt. Vastine not even flinching. 2-2.
Yeah, on that note, obviously Vanderbilt, the number 14 team in the country, but it's just a display of history. If you're a fan of college baseball, you know these two programs, you know the history that these two programs carry. A lot of people wanting to watch that today.
2-2. Vastine fouls one off. Elliott shaking his hand a little bit. Seems like he's okay, though.
And I like the approach that Aoki has taken to the last 2 at-bats. Getting ahead of the hitters, playing with a couple of pitches, throwing it outside the zone, trying to get the chase, and then attacking the zone. Obviously, Vastine got a piece of it on that one.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Vastine, and Aoki now has 3 straight strikeouts and 2 in this inning.
Again, another display of throwing a couple pitches outside the zone, changing the vision of Vastine. So we'll get another look at this last pitch. A little bit just at the knees, drawing the swing.
Here comes R.J. Austin, the center fielder for Vanderbilt, swinging first pitch again, and he fouls one off.
Saw him swing at the first pitch in the first inning, fly out to center field. It was a well-hit ball. Have to be careful about hitting the zone with R.J. Austin, but he's the ideal leadoff hitter, swinging at the first pitch.
0-1, Austin hits it up the middle weakly. Martin Grzelonic fields, throws on the first for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Caden Aoki in the third, just like how he worked Vanderbilt's top of the order back in the first inning. We had the bottom of the third inning. USC looking to finally put a run up on the board as we're Trojans so far.
Yeah, McIlvain has looked really solid on the bump so far. USC not able to get a crack at him. He hasn't looked super strong this season, but he's really coming out of the gates well against the Trojans today.
And McIlvain hanging in the year for Vanderbilt is ranked the number 24 sophomore, heading into the season by perfect game. Top prospect to watch for next year's draft as well.
A little bit of a discussion between McIlvain, the home plate umpire, and Barcy behind the dish.
First pitch to John Elliott, the catcher, called for a strike.
And we saw what might have been a warning in the last half inning. I don't know if that was an extension of that conversation.
Elliott whiffs on that breaking ball, 0-2. You know, going back to McIlvain, he will be actually eligible for this draft. He will be 21 when the MLB draft rolls around. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Elliott is set down on 3 pitches. And that's the 5th strikeout of the game for Ethan McIlvain.
And similar to Aoki, 3 straight punch-outs for McIlvain. So both pitchers are putting up strikeouts, 3 for Aoki, and like you mentioned, 5 for McIlvain.
Well, we mentioned in the top half of the inning how this might be one of the highest attended games for USC this year, and the official attendance is 2,619. And the capacity at the Great Park is only 1,300. So that many people are sitting out on the berm, maybe GA just standing behind the backstop, but wow, I mean, almost 3,000 people. What an attendance number for USC, and, you know, of course, their temporary home.
And obviously, with Dado Field under construction, all games are free and open to the public.
0-1. Fastball at the knees. McIlvain doesn't get the call there. 1-1. Of course, USC playing some midweek games at LMU's Page Stadium. Last year, they played a series against Oregon State at UCI's ballpark, Cicerone Field. That one's poked the opposite way, and it drops in for a base hit. Dowd has some speed. Rigdon throws to second base. Dowd sliding into second safely. Second double of the game for USC comes off the bat of Braden Dowd.
And although Dowd doesn't necessarily have the speed of a player like Austin O'Verne, who the Trojans lost to the MLB draft last year, Dowd obviously showed off the wheels.
Take a look again. Dowd just extending the barrel on that outside pitch, on that breaking ball. Rustin Rigdon, he's fast. He has a really good arm as well, but wasn't able to throw out Dowd, who got an excellent read off the bat. Of course, being a lefty, you get a little bit of a head start out of the box, too. First pitch to Bryce Martin Grzelonic, fouled behind the plate. 0-1.
And an aggressive lead there from Braden Dowd. Only has 1 stolen base on the year. Unlikely to go 2/3. And we'll see. Might be just trying to mess with McIlvain here.
0-1. Ball in the dirt, good block there from Barcy. He's been incredible behind the plate for Vanderbilt. Hasn't really let a ball go by him yet so far.
Especially with how big of a lead Braden Dowd is getting at second. Very important for Barcy to keep him honest and keep the ball in front of him.
1-1 to Bryce. Hit this one well to deep left field. Going back is Rigdon. He won't get there. One hop the fence over Rigdon's head. Dowd will come home to score. And Bryce Martin Grzelonic standing at second base with an RBI double, and it's now 1-0 USC.
That RBI double, 102 off the bat for Bryce Martin Grudzalonic. That got to the wall in a hurry. Back-to-back doubles for the Trojans.
Yeah, shallow one hop too off the warning track. Took a nasty spin for Rigdon. But luckily enough, Martin Grudzalonic wasn't able to go to third base on what could have been on that little spin. But now Johnson's playing in on third base for Ethan Hedges. His counterpart now in the box for USC. First pitch to him. Pitch low. Marcy can't squeeze it behind the plate, 1-0. You know, Thomas, for USC, how big is it for them to at least get out on the board in front first against this number 14 ranked Vanderbilt team?
Well, a fast start is so important in college baseball. Playing from ahead is a lot easier than playing from behind in any sport. And the fact that the Trojans are unranked at home playing against such a premier program, very important to get that first run. And McIlvain up to 51 pitches in the third inning.
1-1. Another pitch in the dirt there. 2-1 now on Hedges. He doubled back in the first inning. That was the first of the game for either team. Raises his average on the year to 459, and his OPS is at 1.48. Incredible.
Will he ever be able to slow down? That's the question.
McIlvain losing control of the off-speed offering. 3-1 now. Cade Higgins, the lefty, standing on deck. So I'm sure right now for McIlvain, he wants to obviously get Hedges out, but you know, walking might not be the worst situation here. 3-1. Nice pitch there for McIlvain to get back, and now we're at a full count.
Now, Hedges was never going to swing at that pitch. It was a good pitch on that outside edge. And Hedges waiting for a pitch that he can drive or waiting for ball 4.
McIlvain taking a big deep breath before coming set. 3-2. Hedges skies one off the netting. We'll replay that pitch again. McIlvain, his fastball's been sitting 93 to 95 miles an hour so far, and he throws a cutter. It's around 88. He's also got that changeup, a couple other breaking pitches as well. He's got a deep arsenal. Another full count pitch to Hedges. Away, and that's a walk. Runners on first and second for USC with one gone.
And a similar location to the 3-1 pitch that Hedges faced. But this one just outside. Good take by Hedges, especially after seeing strike 2 fall in on that outside edge.
Now we're going to see a meeting at the mound for Vanderbilt. First meeting from either teams in this game.
And this is really important. Again, McIlvain at 56 pitches. If you're Vanderbilt, you might consider getting another arm up in the bullpen. It would stink to pull your starter in the third inning. But with 56 pitches, McIlvain's day is probably closing in on an end. He might have a couple more innings left in him. He really needs to tighten up with 2 runners on in the bottom of the third inning, already giving up 1 run.
That was pitching coach Scott Brown on the mound for Vanderbilt. 13th year as a pitching coach, 9th as an associate head coach at Vanderbilt. And, of course, he's seen so many terrific pitchers come through that Vanderbilt program, and that's been kind of what they've been known for in these last couple of years, developing pitching. Of course, they had that strong tandem of Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, and then last year they had Carter Holton, one of the top pitchers drafted. First pitch inside the Cade Higgins, 1-0.
And that's what you get when you have consistency on the coaching staff, and that's why Vanderbilt's been so good. Obviously, head coach there for 23 straight years, pitching coach there for 13.
Ball in the dirt, 2-0 on Higgins. Course, Cal Wright, Carson Fulmer can also be included in that, as well as Walker Bueller. I mean, so many talented arms coming out of that program. 2-0 to Higgins. Fastball. Beautiful pitch by McIlvain, 2-1.
And we've seen McIlvain get into the scenario so many times already today. 2-0 count, biting back to get a strikeout. That's what he did to Cade Higgins in the first inning, trying to do it again here in the third.
2-1. Another pitch away, 3-1 to Cade Higgins. The last lefty that McElwain will have to face for a while until he hits the top of the order and Dowd again. First baseman Dean Carpentier standing on deck. 3-1 pitch to Higgins. Swing and a miss. That was a nice slider there from McElwain. To a risky pitch at that. I'm not sure if that would have been a strike call as well, but of course, beautiful deception on that pitch to get a swing and miss. Full count pitch to Higgins. Just fouling one off.
And again, that pitch count keeps creeping and creeping and creeping up. 62 in the third inning. That's not sustainable. That's what happens when McElwain gets into these 2-0 counts.
Payoff pitch. Outside, and Higgins draws the walk. Sprinting down the first base, firing up the USC fans. And now bases are juiced with only one gone.
Now 3 walks on the day for McElwain. Dean Carpentier, the man at the dish. He drew the first walk from McElwain to lead off the second inning, but got out by way of the fielder's choice, so the Trojans could not capitalize as there's another mound visit here.
And this time it's going to be the manager, Tim Corbin. McElwain a little upset, wasn't able to finish the inning for Vanderbilt. And Corbin will take the ball, and a new pitcher will be on the mound for Vanderbilt. They're going to go to the right-handed pitcher in Brandon Cyber. And of course, this is probably the closest he's ever going to get to playing the home. He's from Newport Beach, California, went to Mater Dei High School. He was teammates with both Mater Dei alumni on this USC roster, teammates with the catcher John Elliott and with Ethan Hedges, who currently stands on second base.
John Elliott started this inning off with a strikeout, but 4 straight base runners for USC, really coming off the rails for McElwain. At 6'6", Cyber on the mound, imposing a presence. Led all Vandy pitchers as a freshman last year with 23 appearances, tied for the team lead with 5 saves.
Yeah, it was incredible last year for Vanderbilt. 37 strikeouts and 42 2/3 last year, and this year off to another great start as well. 2.45 ERA, and this is his 5th appearance on the year. His first appearance came in Nebraska and allowed 2 earned runs in 2 innings, but after that has not allowed a run since. 5 1/3 innings scoreless for Cyber, including a start against Air Force on the 18th. Might be operated in more of a midweek kind of starter guy, but right now, with Vanderbilt down by a run, and it could get even uglier for the Commodores with bases juiced and 1 gone.
Now Vanderbilt likely to come out in double play depth in the middle of the infield with the bases juiced.
Yeah, tendency, make sure to have the corners in just in case. Maybe you can come home. Of course, the middle infield will be in double play depth between Vastine and Mancini, and that infield defense is so good for Vanderbilt. I mean, Vastine, he is considered the best defensive college shortstop in the game. I mean, last year for Vanderbilt, he led all the shortstops in defensive run saves according to D1 Baseball's Synergy stats. And we talked about how highly Corbin thinks of his defense. Now here comes Dean Carpentier. Swing and a miss at that first pitch from Cyber. Of course, you mentioned Thomas Carpentier walked back in the second inning. You know what? Registered at bats here. Carpentier hits this one well to right field. Going back is Humphrey. He makes a grab. Tagging from third and second. Martin Grudzelanek scores from third. As Hedges moves up to third, so that's an RBI sacrifice fly from Dean Carpentier, and the Trojans are up now 2-0.
So a productive out for USC. Carpentier getting the RBI, doing exactly what he wanted to do, sending it to right field just deep enough to be able to score Bryce Martin Grudzelanek. So USC, like we talked about in the open, manufacturing runs. The Trojans did put up 2 extra base hits in this frame, but also 2 walks and a sacrifice fly. USC now with 2 runs.
First pitch swing is a designated hitter, Lopez. It's the backstop, 0-1. So if they can get Lopez out here, I'm sure this is one of the better scenarios for Vanderbilt, at least only down by 2 so early on this ball game. And they all have the offensive talent to crawl back in this game.
This is an important at-bat for Lopez after that fielder's choice, now sitting at 200 on the year with his batting average.
Away pitch from Cyber, 1-1. Cyber was named the NCBWA Stopper of the Year in the midseason watch list last season. Osby pitches, misses away, 2-1. He helped Mater Dei do a first playoff appearance and victory in 7 years back in 2023. John Elliott on that roster too. Fastball misses low, 3-1 now to Lopez. In danger of getting the bases loaded again.
Now we hear the Trojan crowd getting into it with some "Let's Go Trojan" chants. Getting louder as this at-bat goes on.
3-1. Lopez pokes this one the opposite way, and it'll trail foul over the fence.
Free souvenir for fans outside Great Park. And now a full count for Adrian Lopez. And second batter for Cyber, and he's already up to 7 pitches. Vanderbilt pitchers so far today. McIlvain drove that pitch count up. Now Cyber through 2 hitters. Having to throw a lot of pitches.
Payoff pitch to Lopez. Chops one. Fielded by Johnston. Plants his feet to throw. What a scoop! And a great out by Riley Nelson at first base to end the inning for Vanderbilt. Well, USC are able to take the first lead of this ball game thanks to an RBI double from Bryce Martin Grudzalonic and a sacrifice fly from Dean Carpentier. As we head into the 4th inning, the Trojans lead 2-0. We'll take a look at some of these highlights. What a pick there from Riley Nelson. That could have gone awry for Vanderbilt in that.
2-3 innings. Only allowed 1 base hit. That was a leadoff double in the 2nd inning, but he also hit a batter that frame, but got a double play. So just 2 base runners through 3 frames for Caden Aoki. And he's got 3 strikeouts to his name.
Here's Rustin Rigdon, one of the many star freshmen for this Vanderbilt team. 1-1. Just fouls one off. 1-2. Rigdon can play anywhere in the infield, and he's been playing some center field, playing some outfield as well. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Oh, it's a foul ball, excuse me. Elliott was able to squeeze it. That would have been strike 3. Foul tipped right in the glove, but he wasn't. Upset with himself a little bit there. Still 1-2, but going back to Rigdon. Last year, as a senior in high school, played center field left-handed because of an arm injury. He bats lefty, throws righty, or bats switch hitting, excuse me. 2-2.
I'm talking about Rigdon as a freshman. This Vanderbilt roster, 22 returners, but 21 newcomers. Rigdon, one of them. Bit of a retooling year for the Commodores.
2-2, Rigdon just extending the barrel out there. Count remains even. How talented you have to be able to play center field left-handed when you're predominantly, of course, throwing right-handed, switch hitting as well, but still, that's just incredible.
And also hitting in the 2-hole for such an impressive Vanderbilt program.
Fastball away, just misses. Aoki starting to walk up the mound just a little bit. Wasn't able to get that call there. Count runs full now on Rigdon. Grounded to second baseman Covarrubias back in the 1st. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Rigdon. It's another strikeout for Aoki, his 4th of the game.
And all 4 have come against the last 5 hitters. So we get another look at that pitch down below the zone. Got Rigdon chasing.
And that was away, too. There's nothing really you can do there on that pitch like that. So I poke it to the opposite way and try to beat it out. I mean, Rigdon does have some great speed, but wasn't able to make contact there. And here's Riley Nelson, ground out the first base, back in the first inning. Curveball at the knees for strike one. And Nelson, Tim Corbin says that he kind of reminds him of a Sean Casey-like hitter. Very good bat-to-ball skills and the ability to really drive the baseball. 0-1. Curveball in the dirt. Elliott was able to block it fully, but no one's on 1-1. You know Sean Casey, his nickname was the Mayor. Spent a lot of time in Cincinnati. Was the Yankees hitting coach for a little bit. But like you mentioned, or like Corbin mentioned, I should say, very good back-to-ball skills, has great power, but even better person. Swing and a miss there from Nelson. Nelson, to Yavapai Community College. Last year and freshman year spent time at Western Texas. He's hit everywhere he's been. He's coming from Trophy Club, Texas, Byron Nelson High School. In the dirt, backhanded by Elliott, 2-2. And Yavapai, first team all-conference and first team all-region honors. They get 4-12 in 54 games. 13 home runs as well. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Another breaking pitch, another strikeout for Caden Aoki. His fifth of the game.
And again, fifth strikeout in the last 6 batters. Caden Aoki really filling up the zone, but also that's back-to-back pitches that were below the zone to get strikeouts on Nelson and Rigdon.
Here's Brody Johnson, star freshman for Vanderbilt. Fastball right below the zone. Home plate umpire Ramon Armendariz checking over at Joe Maiden at first, but didn't go around 1-0. Johnson was the preseason SEC Freshman of the Year by Baseball America, who was ranked the number 14 third baseman in D1 Baseball's preseason rankings before he even played a game. Whips on the top of that one, 1-1.
And one of 2 freshmen in the top 4 of the starting lineup for Vanderbilt. Part of the reason the Commodores are having such a strong start to the season.
Johnson skies this one up in the air and will go foul. Of course, this was such a big get for Tim Corbin in that Vanderbilt program. Ranked as the number 10 freshman heading in the year by perfect game. And the top of the Vanderbilt recruiting class that was ranked number 7 in the whole country. They've been always so good at recruiting. They've lost a lot of talent, high school talent to the draft, been able to get Johnson. Swing and a miss. In the dirt, Elliott moves inside, throws a Carpentier for the third out of the inning, and Caden Aoki sets down the side all on strikeouts here in the 4th inning. He's been having his most dominant stretch right now. Another off-speed pitch. Johnson pitching in the dirt.
Turf this past week for the Trojans. Starting to get back to Dado Field.
First pitch inside on Jack Basier. It's a ball. For Vanderbilt, Brendan Cyber, 6'6", sophomore, 240 out of Mater Dei High School, Newport Beach, still on the mound. For a lot of his family and friends that must be in attendance today. Fastball at the knees, misses low, 2-0. I mean, why not come? All the games are free for USC this year. Of course, playing at the Great Park, playing some midweek games at LMU. 2-0. Basier hits one on a rope. Vastine can't field it cleanly, but he's able to regroup and make the throw to first base for the first out of the inning.
So Cyber coming out after recording the final 2 outs of the 3rd inning for his 2nd inning of work. He's looking really strong. Even though Adrian Lopez did drive that pitch count up, sitting at 11 pitches through 3 batters.
Now here comes Avery Covarrubias, the second baseman for USC. Struck out back in the 2nd inning. His curveball in there from Cyber. Paints the black inside, 0-1. And going back to that hard hit ball from Basier, Vastine, we mentioned how he's one of the best defensive shortstops in college baseball. Covarrubias whiffs, 0-2. It's a good job from him, Obviously the ball popped out of his glove. was so hard hit. 110 off the bat of Jack Basier, but Vastine able to regroup, make a strong throw to first. Covarrubias strikes out on 3 pitches. And Cyber's in a groove.
And even though the bottom 3 of the USC lineup did really well yesterday, so far the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, as we're getting John Elliott, the 9 hitter, coming up, they're a combined 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts.
Catcher for USC swings and misses at that first pitch from Cyber, 0-1. Of course, sure, this might be a fun matchup for them. Elliott, freshman, Cyber, a sophomore, both teammates together at Mater Dei High School. 0-1. Ball sits high. 1-1. And you know, I saw it the other day. It was UCLA, Arizona State, in a matchup between the Arizona State pitcher and UCLA star shortstop Brock Shalowski. As Elliott down left field line is just going to go foul. But of course, they were teammates together. Hamilton High School in Arizona. Bases loaded. Shalowski took his high school teammate deep. So I'm sure there's maybe a little bit of a friendly competition going on between Elliott and Cyber. Of course, no longer teammates, but of course they shared that bond for many years. Elliott, of course, got his first ever collision home run yesterday versus UConn. He scooped the low changeup out over the left field fence. 1-2. Elliott holding back his hands, not going around on that off-speed pitch there from Cyber. 2-2.
And especially after such a strong third inning for USC, getting those 2 runs, don't want to go down 1-2-3 in this frame.
Elliott pops one up on the first base side. He'll land in the Vanderbilt dugout. Too deep for Riley Nelson to make a play on.
If the Trojans do go down 1-2-3, you would want Elliott to drive up the pitch count for Cyber and make sure he doesn't come out for a third inning of work, especially after bouncing the starting pitcher for Vanderbilt pretty early on.
Cyber shakes off Barcy now 3 times. Gets his windup. 2-2. Elliott just staying alive. Count remains even. For Elliott, coming in the USC as ranked the 107th best player in all of California by perfect game, 15th best catcher. In on his hands. Hit softly in the air, and Cyber runs off the mound to make the grab, and his dugout's fired up. Pitchers are athletes too, Thomas, and Cyber showcasing why that phrase is so true. Look here at some of the athletic effort. Boy, he hasn't allowed a base runner back in the second inning. Or hit by pitch. Roped on a line, they'll drop in for Colin Barcy, the catcher. Basier rounds, turns, throw to second base, and it's offline. Colin Barcy with the double breaks up that streak that Aoki had going, and Vanderbilt has the leadoff runner on.
And we saw Basier playing really, really far in towards center field. If he was playing at a normal left fielder's position depth, probably could have held Barcy to a single. Just the defensive positioning. Barcy able to hit it, not even close enough to the line, but just far enough away from Basier. Was a long run for the left fielder for USC.
Yeah, Barcy, the backstop, no career stolen bases. Of course, backstop typically known for not having a lot of speed, but Barcy was hustling right out of the box, recognizing the chance he had for extra bases. Now Jaden Davis, the designated hitter, up for Vanderbilt. On 1. Davis saws one off, 0-2. Spent his freshman year at Samford before transferring to Vanderbilt last year. Hit 168 at-bats, hit .315 for the Commodores with 2 home runs. Great doubles hitter as well. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Davis can't get around on that curveball from Aoki. Another strikeout for him, tying his season high so far with 7.
Yeah, Aoki looking really strong. And again, in that second inning, he's only given up 2 hits, both leadoff doubles. He was able to strand Brody Johnston and his leadoff double in the second frame. Now looking to strand Colin Barcy's leadoff double in the 5th.
Mancini shows bunt, pulls it back. Doesn't matter. Strike 1 anyways. And for Mancini, of course, we talked about his excellent sophomore campaign at James Madison. His freshman year, he hit .284 with 2 home runs as well. Solid year for him. But that slugging percentage went up almost by a full 200 points. Mancini trying to bunt again. Great eye. 1-1. For Mancini as well. I mean, you might remember the name. He was part of that Maine Enwell 2016 Little League World Series championship team. That's one of the most famous Little League World Championship teams as well. They had a whole documentary made by ESPN about them. This just misses away, 2-1. Of course, it's because that the Maine Enwell team, that community is the smallest ever community to win a Little League World Series. The documentary was called World Beaters. And his Maine Enwell teammate, Jude Abadessa, is also playing this tournament for UConn. He's a right-handed pitcher. Curveball dropped in there by Aoki, 2-2. And, you know, Mancini and Abadessa, not the only Little League World Series winners. Of course, Vanderbilt has another World Series winner on their team, and Alkai Kea, who's part of that 2018 Little League World Series team from Hawaii that won. And all 3 played pivotal roles in that tournament. Aoki pitching Mancini all the way right now. It's now full. Mancini also a great football player and basketball during his time at high school. Went to Maine Enwell High School. Same name as his Little League. 3-2. Fastball at the knees. Just misses. Susie Rock. Mancini will take first base. He's walking over for a minute, acting like he struck out for a minute. He was handing out the bat over the first base. A little hard to see from that angle. Mancini earns himself a walk, trusting his eye, able to get it.
Yeah, probably didn't want to put his bat on the grass, so he came, handed it to his teammate, but Aoki lost the opportunity, at least in that at-bat, to tie his career high with 8 strikeouts, currently sitting at 7, looking to hit 8 for the 5th time in his career.
Change up in the dirt to start off Jacob Humphrey, 1-0. Yeah, Mancini was making me doubt myself for a minute, Thomas. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy walk over towards the dugout after a walk like that, really. Only for maybe taking off some protective equipment, but handing off the bat, so interesting way. Maybe that's a sacred bat. Get some good juju, of course. So much superstition in baseball.
Probably the most superstitious sport.
Humphrey drops down the bunt. Aoki off the mound, slips, fires the first. Not in time. Carpentier had to leap off the bat to save it from going to the outfield. Not sure what this will be ruled as, but unfortunate for Aoki. He slipped, wasn't able to really cement his footing there. His right foot is the one slipping. Looked like that throw was going to be very close. Might have been him if the throw was a bit lower, but Carpentier, he's 6'3" at first. Big target. Good job at least keeping the runners where they are, but now Vanderbilt with a bases loaded opportunity for them with 1 out. Just like USC did, and they were able to at least drive him a run. Vanderbilt looking to do the same, maybe even more. Ball low. 1-0 on Jonathan Vastine. Play still being decided upon whether that was being a throwing error by Aoki or will be a base hit single. I don't know. If I was scoring, I think that would have been a close play either way. I would give the single to Humphrey.
I would also give the single. That was an extraordinary effort from Aoki to try to run over. It is officially ruled a single for Humphrey. And no matter what, bases loaded for Vanderbilt just shows the Commodores in the back half of their lineup getting the bases loaded.
Bases loaded for Vastine. He's in a hitter's count. 2-0. Fastball inside, called for strike 1. And going back to Humphrey, dropping down that bunt. He has so much speed. This time is UMass Lowell. He stole 46 bases as a freshman, 32 as a sophomore, and last year for Vanderbilt stole 12. 93 total stolen bases in his collegiate career. Ball low, 3-1 on Vastine. Aoki in danger of walking home the first run for Vanderbilt.
And the problem with going back to that bunt, a right-handed pitcher coming off the mound, having to pick up the ball, turn, and then throw, makes it a little bit harder. And there are challenges when it comes to left-handed pitchers throwing to first when it's going down that line, but potentially could be a little bit easier.
3-1, Vastine whiffs. Full count now. Probably the biggest pitch of the game so far for either team, considering the circumstances. Vanderbilt down by 2. Full count now on the 9-hole hitter in Vastine. Only one gone. Aoki pausing, deep breath, delivers, 3-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Vastine, and that's a big-time strikeout for Caden Aoki. 8th strikeout of the game.
And that 8th punch-out ties a career high, gets him swinging on that outer edge. So now the 5th time in his career that Aoki has hit that 8 strikeout total. That was a chance to get out of a bases-loaded jam and set a new career high in strikeouts.
He's got to deal with the dangerous leadoff hitter in R.J. Austin as he fouls one off to the USC dugout. I mean, Austin has been really aggressive so far today. We haven't been able to talk that much about him, but he is Vanderbilt's best position player. Ranked very high as a draft prospect, 79th for the upcoming draft. Hitting .335 last year for the Commodores.
I think he's only seen 4 pitches today, and this is his 3rd at-bat.
0-1. Off-speed offering low. 1-1 on Austin. He's reached base in every single game so far this season and has hits in 9 of 10, including 5 multi-hit games. I mean, he really fits that prototypical Vanderbilt leadoff hitter. Of course, we talked about Enrique Bradfield Jr., but Austin, again, another speedy guy, this time batting from the right side instead of the left. Austin. It's a soaring pop-up behind home plate will go foul. 1-2 now on RJ. He can play anywhere really on the infield. He played second base as a freshman, first base as a sophomore, seeing some time in all 4 infield positions, and now he's playing center field.
Crowd getting into it, getting a little bit louder for this big pitch.
1-2, swing and a miss in the dirt. Strike 3, swinging, and Aoki is fired up. 9th strikeout of the game for Caden, and probably the biggest one so far of this game.
And sets a career high, now 9 strikeouts on the day for Caden Aoki. That one again low. He's gotten a bunch of the punch-out swings on.
Sawyer Hawks, senior righty from Lakeland, Florida. 6'4", 215 from McKeel Academy. Previously at Air Force, where he spent his freshman and sophomore year, and then transferred to Vanderbilt as a junior, missed time due to the injury. And this year as a senior, one of the better seniors in college baseball and relievers as well. He's ranked in those rankings from D1 Baseball and Perfect Game. Seems like right now for Vanderbilt, they're really throwing their best guys at USC, trying to win this game. Dowd swings first pitch. Popped up in the air. It's going to be caught by Rigdon.
So it's the top of the order for USC coming out in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's been the top of the order who has been producing for the Trojans so far. Bryce Martin-Gredzalonic now at the plate.
High fastball at the letters, called for a strike. Hawks on the year so far from Vanderbilt. 6 innings pitched, no runs allowed. Nice little slider cutting action on Martin Gredzalonic in the zone 0-2. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. He's been absolutely unhittable right now. Trying to raise Martin Gredzalonic's sights, now 1-2. Last year for Vanderbilt as well, pitched only 6 innings, but had a 10.5 ERA. And previous year of Air Force had a 2.84 ERA and 50 2/3 innings of work. 1-2 on Martin Gredzalonic. Hits one up the middle, and it goes through for a base hit. Bryce Martin Grudzalonic picking things up where he left back off the third inning with a double. Now a single for a second hit of the game.
And 2 for 3 day for Bryce Martin Grudzalonic. 107 miles per hour off the bat. Hits the mound. No play there for Vastine.
We've seen Vastine show off great defense already today. But yeah, not close enough for him to at least make a diving effort. Now here comes Ethan Hedges. 1 out runner on first for Sawyer Hawks. Swing and a miss there from Hedges. 0-1. It's a great matchup, by the way, for some of the fans watching at home and, of course, at the Great Park. I mean, Hawks has been one of the most dominant relievers so far in college baseball, and, of course, Ethan Hedges is one of the most dominant hitters. So this is a marquee matchup right now.
Hedges 4 for 5 with 2 walks across the last 2 games. He's been electric all season and definitely carrying it into the Southern California Baseball Classic.
Hawks taking a while to live to this one. Curveball just misses inside. Hawks, as a sophomore at Air Force, was All-Mountain West second teamer. Of course, you mentioned his 2.84 ERA in that stretch, but 70 strikeouts in 50 and 2/3 innings, and that's his calling card. Great fastball, great breaking ball as he throws over to first base, making Martin Grudzalonic get his jersey dirty. Of course, also a teammate of Paul Skeens is at Air Force before Paul eventually transferred to LSU. Of course, Tim Corbin knows all about Skeens, of course, in the SEC. 1-1. Hedges, the third base, fielded by Johnson. The toss over to second base for 1. In time for 2. Johnson to Mancini to Nelson to end the inning for Vanderbilt. And Sawyer Hawks able to only face the minimum 3 batters thanks to some great defense from Vanderbilt. That infield defense has been superb for the Commodores today.
Now Hedges really close to beating that one out. Just not enough speed and a good stretch there from Nelson.
Heading into the 6th inning of frame now, Vanderbilt still trailing USC by 2 runs as Aoki is back on the mound for the Trojans. They're watching this baseball matchup being from another hot and humid place like Tennessee and Nashville. Fastball is right below the knees of Rustin Rigdon to begin this outing. Of course, you know, it seems like Thomas, for me at least, in Kaden Aoki's USC career, just seems like he really lives up to the moment. As Rigdon rolls one over, Covarrubias jumps a little bit, toss on the Carpentier to first base, and gets out the speedy Rigdon for out number 1.
Yeah, like you were saying, Dylan, he had hit 8 strikeouts 4 times in his career as we get another look at this ground out. Good cover there by Aoki. Last year, he hit 8 strikeouts twice, once against Oregon State, of course, a great Pac-12 baseball program. The other against Arizona, the winner of the Pac-12 tournament in that final Pac-12 tournament game. So Kaden Aoki always seems to meet the moment, and the moment is now against number 14 Vanderbilt.
Well, you mentioned Arizona. I think he took a no-hitter in the 6th inning in that Pac-12 championship game. It's absolutely phenomenal. 1-0 on Riley Nelson. Off-speed misses away. 2-0.
And Aoki, even though the Trojans lost that game against Arizona, it was an inspired performance from him to try to will USC to the NCAA tournament after an abysmal start to the season. I feel like that's a storyline we talk about every game. Aoki nearly got the Trojans into the promised land, earned a no decision in that game with the 8 punch-outs against the Wild.
Danger of walking Nelson right now. 3-0. Fastball painted away, 3-1. Aoki only has 1 walk in this game. Also hit Bartsey back in the 2nd inning. That's been kind of it. Vanderbilt has 3 hits. Only that. 3-1. Nelson roped on the ground. Carpentier eats him up, but he sticks with it. Taps on the first base in time for out number 2.
And what's been interesting about the strikeouts for Aoki, it's not like he's been striking out the same 2 or 3 guys multiple times. He has 9 strikeouts to 8 different hitters. As we're getting another look. A good cover again by Aoki. Carpentier was able to take it himself. The only member of the lineup who Aoki has not struck out is Barcy, the 5-hole hitter and catcher for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Barcy's on deck, but now he'll face a 4-hole hitter in Johnston. Double and a strikeout for Johnston today. Of course, coming off his best game of his early collegiate career yesterday at UCLA. I mean, he's a guy with power to all fields. He hit that home run to deep right center field. Fastball just misses low. 2-0 on Johnston. From Ottawa, Tennessee, went to Boyd Buchanan High School. Mother Bridget played softball at Chattanooga State, and his father Michael played semi-pro football. Fouled off there from Johnson. He played for the Chattanooga team and the Tennessee Pioneers, so family's Tennessee all through and through. Of course, Johnson was the #1 overall prospect in the state of Tennessee. Playing the perfect game. 2-1. Curveball in there inside on Johnson, now 2-2. Aoki's pitch count running up there just a little bit. Could be his final inning of work. We'll see. 2-2. Johnson just pokes one up the middle, and it's over the head of Covarrubias. Second base hit of the game for Johnson. That's excellent defensive hitting right there from the third baseman.
And now 4 hits across the last 2 days for Johnston. He's playing some inspired baseball. And at this point, Aoki has 5 2/3 innings pitched, tied for his season high. Looking to get through 6 for the first time this year and potentially earn a quality start.
And you know what's funny about Johnson as well? He just hit for the cycle, and technically, if you combine both games, also in reverse order. He started off with the home run, and Aoki checks back on him. Started off with the home run at UCLA, then his second hit was a triple, and then today he has a double and a single, going in that backwards order, but unfortunately not in a single game span for the cycle, but still so impressive on the weekend, coming over from Tennessee to California. Elliott, the ball spins off him. Johnson will advance second standing. Good read by Brody. That was far away from Elliott, enough for him to go, but not too far to think about taking an extra base.
So on the topic of the cycle, Dylan, I do have a question for you. Would you rather hit for the cycle or hit for 4 home runs in one game?
Oh, I think 4 home runs is much more rare. I mean, I can only think of a handful of MLB players that have done it. I know legendary Red second baseman Scooter Gennett was one of them, but it was kind of a lightning flash in a bottle of his career. But, man, I loved him as a player. But I feel like, the 4 home runs is much more rare than a cycle, even though both are such great achievements. Johnson over at second base. Pitch to Barcy. Away. Unable to get the call there. Two 2-0 now on Barcy. Like you mentioned, Thomas, the only guy that has not been set down by Aoki. Hit by pitch in the second and a double in the fifth. At the knees. That does not catch the zone.
Tough call there. Just right at the knees. Didn't get the call from home plate umpire Ramon Armendariz.
Aoki in danger of walking his second batter of the game as well. Rio, fastball down the middle for strike 1. Wonder there, that was a 4-pitch walk. I wonder if Stankiewicz would have went to the bullpen and at least try to get that final out. But Aoki, the fierce competitor on the mound, he's not going to back down. Against Barcy, who's been one of the best hitters in the Vanderbilt lineup today. Old school, only wearing 1 batting glove. 3-1. Rolls one over. Martin Grudzalonic backhands on the outfield grass to throw in the first in time. What a defensive play from Martin Grudzalonic to get Aoki and the Trojans out of the 6th. And Ken Aoki going the longest he has so far this season.
2 walks in that frame. And then a lone hit in the first inning, a lone hit in the 5th. That's what USC needs to do, timely hitting.
Nice off-speed there from Hawks inside, 0-1. Going back to Hawks, this dude is such a fierce competitor. He was a 3-sport athlete in high school, a 3-time letter winner for the McKeel Academy Wildcats. Swing and a miss there from Higgins, 0-2. Lettered 3 years in baseball, and he lettered 3 years in swimming, believe it or not. He also played golf for McKeel. Competed in the 50-meter freestyle and butterfly, 100-meter freestyle and butterfly. 1-2. Of course, obviously, stamina was not a problem for Sawyer Hawks. But still, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy play baseball and swim competitively like that before. That's such a rare combination of sport. 1-2. Higgins rolls one over, and it'll just go foul. And because of his 3-sport effort, Thomas, he was named most athletic at McKeel. Of course, why not? Swimming, baseball, and golf. So impressive.
Well, if somebody else was named the most athletic, I need to see the vote. The other person who was voted most athletic.
1-2. Fastball away. Hawks wasn't able to get the strike three call there. 2-2. Of course, as well. He went to Air Force, too. All that sport and all that training, of course, paid off in his 2 years there before he transferred to Vanderbilt. Swing and a miss there from Higgins. Strikeout there for Hawks. He's kind of made his name in that strikeout category, but that was his first of the game.
We've seen really good relief outings from Vanderbilt pitchers. Obviously, the starter for the Commodores pulled after only 2 1/3 inning of work. Now in the bottom of the 6th.
Home plate umpire Ramon Armendariz stepping out as Hawks was beginning his lineup. They're telling the press box to stop playing Carpenter's walk-up song. Strike one called. Carpentier starting his swing. First base umpire Joe Maiden saying he didn't go. 1-1. Going back to Hawks at Air Force, I know, reading about schemes and how promising he was as a prospect there. You could transfer out of Air Force after 2 years. If you have the potential, if you really want to play professional baseball, and Hawks was able to do that, transferred out to Vanderbilt last year, but didn't pitch at all because of an injury. Now back on the mound for Vanderbilt. Ooh, hits Carpentier there. Off-speed pitch just getting away from Hawks.
And with that, Carpentier's had 3 plate appearances, but technically no at-bats. A walk, a hit by pitch, a sac fly. So Carpentier 0 for 0 on the day.
What a way to raise your on-base percentage. And now here comes Adrian Lopez. 0 for 2 in today's game. He grounded out to third baseman Johnson back in third, and they were grounded into a 6-4 fielder's choice. Hawks checking over there at first on Carpentier. That Cardinal jersey dirty. Interesting too, Thomas. Both teams wearing white pants with their solid colored tops. It's interesting. I know college baseball, you're not forced to wear gray pants technically on the road, and I know Cal State Fullerton, another team like that, they can wear white on the road too. Lopez the opposite way. Chasing on it is Jacob Humphrey, and it'll go foul off the fencing. Parallel with the line. Of course, Vanderbilt having 3 games out on the West Coast. They're playing UConn as well at Jackie Robinson Stadium. They're playing tomorrow early on in the morning, and then USC plays UCLA at Jackie later in the day. Lopez just poking that one again on the right side. Lean on the fastball. Tomorrow they'll be the home team against UConn. UConn away for all 3 games. Trojans away for 2. UCLA hosting all 3. 0-2 to Lopez. Outside. Very close, but no strike called. 1-2. Still very impressed by Thomas by the attendance. I'm not seeing a lot of fans leave in this game, considering it's so close. Hawks checks over quickly on Carpentier.
Well, a 2-0 lead in baseball can go away just like that, and especially with how potent the Vanderbilt offense is, number 14 in the country. Fans are going to be glued to their seats as long as it stays this close of a margin.
1-2. Lopez hits one, flares it up the middle to the right side, trailing, and that's going to be a base hit for him. Carpentier has a slide head first. In there safely. And that ball came off Lopez's bat so oddly, taking a really big tail to the right side. It looked like it was going to go to right center. Just kept flaring all the way to Humphrey. And Carpentier had a hard time reading it. Luckily enough, that throw was high, but it seemed like he might have been safe.
Yeah, nearly called in no man's land, but the throw from Humphrey might have been there in time, but still Carpentier sliding in. Would have been a bang-bang play, but nonetheless, throw went high.
Would have been up to the judgment of umpire David Buck at second. Slider from Hawks away on Basir, 1-0. Hawks, fastball sits 93-94. That curveball of his sits in the low 80s, 82-83. 1-0. Ooh, almost hits Basir. Trying to get an appeal. And home plate umpire Ramon Armendilla is shaking his head, saying, nope, that did not get you. Basir is still in the box, but he's in there to count 2-0.
We talked about it earlier today, how good the 7-8-9 hitters were. 0 for 6 so far. So it'll be important for the Trojans with runners on first and second. 7-8-9, they will have to produce if USC wants to extend the lead.
Brown back on the mound again for Vanderbilt. Scott Brown, we talked about so much success he's had under Tim Corbin. He's actually a really good pitcher himself. 3-year pitching career at Cortland. Second-team All-American in 1999 after going 9-1 with a 2.03 ERA. 19 career victories, tied fifth most in his school's history. And St. John's as well after Cortland. During Brown's tenure, 44 Commodore pitchers have been selected in the draft, with 13 in the first 3 rounds. 2-0 Basir. Fastball is low from Hawks. See a little bit of dirt sparking up as well. 3-0 for Basir. Assuming Thomas, he has the red light here, trying to work himself a walk.
Especially as a 7-hole hitter. Did hit that homer yesterday, but 0 for 2 this afternoon.
3-0. Fastball at the letters, called for a strike, 3-1, which is such a hard pitch to really kind of rope if you're not looking for it. I'm sure Basir was looking for something right at his belt, not the letters though. Runners on first and second for USC. 3-1. Low, and Basir draws a walk. And the bases are loaded once again for USC with only 1 gone.
Pretty clearly also had the red light on that 3-1 pitch. As we get another look at it. Started to toss his bat before the call was even made. He knew he had just received ball 4. That gives way to Covarrubias.
The walks can be a little bit of an issue sometimes for Hawks. Before this game, 53 walks and 81 in the third career innings as Covarrubias swinging first pitch. Hit out the shallow center field. R.J. Austin is there. He'll make the grab. Cut off, and the run will score. Dean Carpentier tagging from third. And USC now has a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the 6th.
Saw Adrian Lopez make a little bit of a jump from second to third. Might have forced Vanderbilt to cut that ball off and allowed Carpentier to score with ease. Austin has a good arm. The first baseman there, Nelson, cutting it off. So it was not going to get Carpentier at least on a line.
Yeah, it looked like that throw from Austin was going to be accurate, too. It did have some tailing action going up the third base line and towards the plate, but it seemed like it was heading towards that way for Bartsey. Not sure from the velocity from up here in the press box if that was going to be a close play for Carpentier. It was cut off. And now USC now have a 3-run lead. And like you mentioned, Toppins, that was one of your keys to the game. Was playing small ball. They're getting runs through sacrifice flies. And really, they're doing a good job at that. 1-0 on Elliott. Nice off-speed from Hawks, 1-1.
Yeah, they have the 1 RBI double from Bryce Martin Grudzlanic. The other 2 runs coming by way of the sacrifice fly. We also talked about 7, 8, 9 have to contribute a walk and a sacrifice fly for 7 and 8. See what 9 can do.
Elliott holding off. Curveball was appealing. Able to stay with it, 2-1. Runners on first and second. Mancini keeping the runner at second honest as Elliott saw it off on his hands, 2-2. There's Lopez at second, Basir at first. Riley Nelson not even playing close towards Basir. It's close enough to cover the bag, but trying to cover a lot of the side on the right, knowing that Mancini is keeping Lopez there at second. 2-2 on Elliott. Hits to the right side and just goes foul. Well, that would have been a real game changer for USC. That could have maybe scored 2 if that was stayed fair. Looks like that might have gone just over the safety bag at first base. That orange bag, of course, being implemented in this college baseball season for the first time. I mean, of course, softball famous for having the 2 bags, but the college baseball experience as well. Now having an extra bag to, of course, prevent collision, keeping the players safe. 2-2. Again, another foul ball by Elliott, putting together a real good battle against Hawks.
Adrian Lopez considered going there, it seemed, from second. Would have been ill-advised. Mentioned it earlier. Never want to get the third out at third base, especially when a single can score you. Adrian Lopez has plenty of speed to score on a single, assuming it reaches the outfield.
Ball in the dirt. Good eye by Elliott. And now with the full count and 2 outs, both runners on first and second will be going. So if Elliott's able to put the ball in play, potentially maybe all he really needs is just a bloop single, too. That can maybe score 2. Full count pitch. Elliott, opposite way, running and chasing against Humphrey. Down the right field line, sliding, and he cannot make the grab.
Hopefully he's okay, sliding in hard. Trying to get to his feet, but coming up with a slight limp.
That's a great effort as well by Jacob Humphrey. He's going to chase the ball down, toss it to some of the kids out there on the berm. He slid feet first into the fence. The ankles had to collapse there while they give him some support. Looks like he's okay. No one's going to go out and check on him. Just walking it off. Now Elliott and Hawks will redo that 3-2 pitch again once Armand Diaz brushed us off the plate. Braden Dow, the leadoff hitter for USC, standing on deck. John Elliott, the freshman catcher from Mater Dei against Hawks. 3-2. Fastball inside, misses. It's a walk for Elliott.
Very close pitch there. Just inches inside for USC to draw the walk. Third free pass of the frame from Hawks. A hit by pitch and 2 walks to go along with Lopez's single.
And that indeed was very close. Could have gone either way. Now we'll see Braden Dowd, 1 for 3 with a double back in the third. 2 flyouts to Rustin Rigdon. All of his hits have been towards that left side the opposite way. Ball in the dirt. Well, luckily enough for Colin Bartsey behind the plate. Didn't get too far away from him.
Especially with the speed of Lopez at third base. Good decision to not go because it barely dribbled away from the backstop.
It definitely would have been an ill-advised move, considering that ball really stopped once it hit the grass. 1-0 pitch from Hawks. In the dirt again. Bartsey having to contort his body to at least keep that ball in front of him. And that's what he's been doing so well today. I mean, just moving his body, shifting it around, to at least make sure that ball just immediately goes down instead of trailing off to the side off his multicolored catching gear. 2-0. Fastball at the knees called for a strike.
We saw after that second ball from Hawks, kind of just looked a little bit dejected on the mound. Looked back towards his dugout for some guidance. Good first pitch there to get that strike.
2-1. Late swing by Dowd. It's now 2-2. Dowd on the year, 289 average, but he's getting on base at a 429 clip, slugging 553 to begin the year. He's already hit more home runs than he did the whole freshman year for USC. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 2-2. On the ground to second base. Mancini flips on the short in time. Vanderbilt are able to get out of a really tricky situation there. Sawyer Hawkson able to induce the ground out from Dowd.
Cứ thế thôi. Cứ thế thôi. Cứ thế thôi mà. Cứ thế thôi. Đấy, đi sắp điện. Đang dần. Biết đây, đang quay rồi. Cứ thế thôi. Cứ thế thôi mà. Cứ thế thôi mà. Nè. Cứ thế thôi. Đấy. Nhiều quá chưa? Cứ thế thôi. Thế. Mất gì nữa.